What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So one of the biggest questions I get from newer players finding my videos is what it's like to play Black Desert nowadays, whether you're a new player, returning player, or you like just heard of the game but you're like, maybe should I play it or not. So I kind of wanted to talk about the experience and what I think you should do for both new and returning players. So I wrote a list of a few things I think are important to talk about and discuss. It could be a lot, but I thought I'd pick out some of the more important things. And number one, returning players. This is more for people who started playing after the transfer when Prolibus took over, at least for NA and EU, that is. And some people have asked me, should I just start a new account or play on my older one? I think the answer is playing on your old account is probably still good. One, because you probably have your username and everything already saved. It's easier to just log in than making a new account. But two, you know how when you return to a game, they usually have different login rewards for different people. So like if you're a newer player, you probably have a special tab that like veteran players don't have. And they also have a bonus one for returning players. I've seen it quite often. And usually those awards will help you get caught up a lot more or a lot easier than the new player rewards are. So just by login rewards, I've seen people show me screenshots of, returning player ones, which are probably a little bit better in my opinion. So if you already have an account and you're thinking, I don't know where I am, I'm lost, just play on your old account. I think that would be a lot better. And it's just as easy to catch up nowadays, whether you play on a new account or your old one, even if you were geared 5-7 years ago or something and you're just starting it again. Yeah, nowadays we have like a season server, which is basically the tutorial of the game, more or less, and it'll help you get caught up a little bit and get you all the knowledge you need to move on and basically be where you were before. So yeah, number one, instead of making a new account, if you already transferred, if you're a returning player, then just play on your old one. The next one would be, should I play this game again? Has anything important changed? And that's a difficult question to answer, simply because the answer is really what made you quit in the first place. So like if you didn't like the combat or class balance of the game, may or may not still like the game nowadays. But if there was something more in particular that made you quit, like let's say there was no group content back in the day and you're like, that's what I want to do, there is more of that now. So the question is, what made you return? But let's try to talk about certain things that has changed. Nowadays, there's first and foremost is 31 different classes, depending on where you quit. Last time there's probably more or less. So yeah, nowadays there's a lot of different classes you could try. If you quit a while ago, there's now Succession and Awakening. Before it was only Awakening. So what that means is like you get to split up your class line. So like if you only enjoyed playing on your main set of skills originally, you can do that. All the skills are stronger, but you're giving up your Awakening line. And if you like the second kit of it, then you can do that, and then it's a little bit weaker, but you have a lot more skills to play with. So that is one thing for the actual old school players, where we only had Awakening back in the day. Now we have Succession. So depending on like if you want to play a different kit or try something new, we have that. And then that's one of the bigger things that I know a lot of people have asked about, like which one's better for every class. That's a whole nother topic because there's 31 classes and I don't know all of them, but I know a few of them. So yeah, depending on when you quit, there's a lot more classes that probably have released and you could probably find something new. The next one, I guess talking into that, is seasonal servers, and you can always just try different classes. I believe if you're returning and new, they give you a few free of the like character tickets, so you can just make a new character. There's also a trial one, so you could see if you like it. If you don't, no big deal. Trying out different classes is always fun. That's probably one of the most important things in any game that I've always thought of, was like, hey, if I'm gonna play a game, I want to try everything to see if I like it. So that's what I've been doing. don't worry if you're one of those players who are like, I only play one character, one or two characters. That's fine. You could do that. I personally have like two characters that I play regularly, but then just to play it, and there's multiple uses for having all the characters aside from trying it, as in like they build energy for you. So even if you don't play the character, there's a lot of stuff you can use energy on it just in the game in general, and just having an energy battery, that's what we call them. Otherwise, they hold your fail stacks. You could park your alt characters at different world bosses and stuff, and then it just makes your life a lot easier. Even if you only play one main character, it's still good to have multiple characters regardless. So the next thing I would do is, or some people have asked, is what should I do when I return to the game? I would probably recommend learning the combat again, because a lot of things changed over time. They've definitely messed with the formula for all the classes. Some classes are easier to play nowadays than they were, 8 years ago. Some are, kind of the same. And obviously new stuff is a little bit more, I guess modern classes these days do a lot better. But who knows? It depends on what you joined the game for. Are you a life skiller? Do you like doing all the, stuff that they have in every MMO, like gathering, fishing, hunting, cooking? You could always do that. It's like playing a different game if you're a life skiller than a PvPer or just, PvE grinder. Yeah, there's a lot of different things to do. If you're returning, try to find one of those three categories of things you enjoy doing, whether it's grinding, life skilling, PvPing, and then work on that going forward. And yeah, it's a lot easier nowadays. They always do like balance changes and a lot of stuff to make life skilling a little bit more easier and more convenient, which I think is a good thing, especially for new players. And then they're always adding new grind spots and then different game modes for PvPers, whether you're gear capped or you want, uncapped gear, or you just want to play in small groups. There's actually a lot of PvP game modes nowadays. Like there's, obviously Node Wars, that's always been in the game, but now they have like Arena of Solaires, which is gear cap 3v3s, and so it's more on like an equal balance playing field, which I think is really fun actually. Guild League for people who like to play in small groups. If you're, in a guild with your friends, more group content is always nice. And so yeah, there's a lot of things to do no matter what you came to the game for. So next question. Is the main story worth doing, and is there a lot of group content? We just kind of talked about the whole group content thing. Yeah, there's more group stuff nowadays than there was before. And in terms of story, it really just depends where you left off last, because every year or two they come out with different regions of the game. Obviously, each region comes with a new storyline, more questing for all those people who just enjoy questing at their own pace and everything. Yeah, there's more regions ever since. Like every year they come out with like one or two. What they've been doing is starting to add things in like two parts. So for example, one of the recent ones they added was Dania, which is more for the end game, but you can still explore and do the quest lines regardless of your gear. So like this is part 1 that we have right now, and in the future we're going to get part 2, which I assume is the covered off area. Before that they had Landed a Morning Light, so this is the completed map right now. The first half was like, let's say you see this icon right here, just cut this down in half, and like basically the whole right half was part 1 and then the left half was part 2. So that's kind of how they've been doing their content formula lately. Just new region comes out in 2 parts throughout a year or two, and new grind spots, life skills, new things for people to do. It works. It's really just depends. Do you like that kind of thing or not? So another question that I've gotten was, back when you played, or when you were still playing, are dailies still basically the main way of playing the game? Just doing dailies, weeklies? There's too many of them and you feel overwhelmed. So what do you do? Honestly, you don't have to do any of them. There are some that are more important. But yeah, I will admit there's like some pretty important things that, whether you're a beginner all the way to end game, highlights that I think you should do. I have a video talking about what I think is important for dailies and weeklies that are, you know, something that everyone should do for silver or just general gains and like overall. I'll leave that in the description if you care about watching it. But I think they have overall made, you know, they've kind of streamlined things more often, and they give a lot more handouts in the game these days, which is a good thing. Like, you could do these, all of these are optional unless you really want to do them. A few of them are really important, but mostly what I'd recommend is looking in your reoccurring tab and just doing the things that you think are important to you at the time, and just go off of that one. So if you got overwhelmed by dailies and weeklies and you're just like, I just want to play the game, you literally don't even have to do any of them. Some of them are important, I will admit, but you could just go about doing your usual activities and not even have to worry about that if you don't want to. And a lot of this stuff is more streamlined nowadays, which I think is good. Next thing is how you should go about playing this game. So as a person who has also played, you know, other MMOs like World of Warcraft, The Elder Scrolls Online, Final Fantasy, those are kind of games where you just get max level, do the end game dungeons and raids, and then get the max gear, and then you're done until the next expansion. I don't mind those, but this game, like Black Desert, is more of a sandbox, and you should prepare for the end game because gear always, you know, improves, but the way you get it, you cannot be carried through the end game as easily. And so, like, all the gear you have, you feel like you've earned it, whether you got lucky enhancing it or you bought it off the market. You still kind of had to save up that money somehow, and you get your gear. So everything you have, you feel like you've earned it in the game, which I think is a actually very nice thing, believe it or not, even if RNG and enhancing is not really something people like hearing. But yeah, it's one of those things where you just play at your own pace. One thing I'd recommend is not really worrying about other people's progress in this game, simply because that'll just burn you out. And one thing that I have always talked about was when I first got into Black Desert in 2016, when it was in beta, was one of my friends, we started playing this game. We came from Elder Scrolls Online and World of Warcraft. So we were like, okay, let's just see who can get to the max level the fastest, who can get the best gear. And then, you know, like 2 years later, we realized that RNG and enhancing was a thing, and that could literally set people back. If you get lucky, you're literally weeks ahead of other people and everything. So yeah, this is one of those games where you just kind of play at your own pace, find something you enjoy doing, and then actually just, you know, sticking to that and then expanding on that going forward. But it's not like, you know, your traditional MMO of get max level, do end game raid, and then go from there. So it's just slow progression, but it's actually, it doesn't sound as bad as it is. So, you know, like, it's actually kind of enjoyable playing things at your own pace and seeing your gear improve over time. It's one of those feeling things more than like a visual thing. So yeah, I think if you're thinking about trying it because, you know, what your goal is just to play a long-term game, this is probably one of those good ones where I've definitely seen, you know, other MMOs where you can just be at the end game in 2 weeks. This one, it depends on what you want to do. If your goal is to be the end game PvPer, that's going to take you a long time. But if you just want to get, you know, pretty decent at something, whether it's life skilling or grinding, you'll be fine, just playing naturally at your own pace. So anyway, that has been a couple of things I wanted to talk about for newer returning players, and I could definitely talk about a lot more things, but I didn't want to keep this video too long. So if you guys enjoyed it, drop a quick like. Maybe we'll do a part 2 if you enjoyed it. So with that said, let me know what your experience is, whether you're a returning player, new player, or you've been playing this game for years. I've always been interested in seeing how people go about playing this game and, you know, just what everyone is up to in this game. So anyway, with that said, that's all from me today. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Would love to see you guys come back. I make content for basically everything. We talk about the highlights, new events, and everything in this game. So if you're thinking about catching up. We got a lot of guides for beginners, returning players, and so on. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace!